should be taken live. I feel bad about this because we'll all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media, and it's no good. It's silly. It's ridiculous, and you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
So, look, for me here, it actually feels like, really up until this point, a lot of the cancellation has been on the left. Like, people on the left canceling comedians, Dave Chappelle for various reasons. Now it's happening on the. I'm just saying, even famous example. They all have a lot of money. I get in trouble. They all have a lot of money with the left, but now we're experiencing comedy being squeezed between these forces. I mean, what is left?
What is left? I mean, what is left is for comedians to do our jobs, whether we are fear of consequences or not. And, you know, the whole modern era of stand-up comedy was built on the fact that was invented in America, by the way. America invented stand-up comedy because we were a country that had free speech. And because we have free speech, the arts are allowed to do what they want to do, the arts are allowed to say what they want to say, and we all enjoyed it for years and years. But the minute you tell Jimmy Kimmel and you show all the comedians that he said this thing, we don't like that thing, he's now suspended, you're actually, it's daring comedians to self-censor themselves when they say something. And that's not where you get the good comedy, everybody. That's not where you get the good opinions from the people. And that's what I think this is about. It's about forcing comedians to think twice before they say something that might offend the president or somebody who's representing the president. And comedians, there's an open letter going right now, comedians signing and saying, we stand with Kimmel. It's really, we stand with the First Amendment, which I thought was what we're supposed to do in America, we stand with the First Amendment.
Do you agree with what he said, though? Do you agree that what he said wasn't inaccurate and a lie? I mean, everybody knew, no, I'm serious question.
I'm talking about whether
the governor of Utah, you could have gone the day before and said this guy was indoctrinated by the left. He went out and said,
but he did that based on bias. He didn't have the evidence of that.
Are we going to go down this road again? Seriously, going to do that?
I'm going down all the roads.
My question. I'm serious.
You didn't give me. You've been talking about it.
Do you think what he said? You agree that was inaccurate? It's a lie.
I think. First of all, I think judging comedians about what they say is true or not is actually not understanding the job of the comedian. The job of the comedian is to tell a joke and make a point. And if you judge comedians about accuracy of their statements, comedy ceases to exist. He's not a reporter. He's not Abby. He's not a journalist. He's a stand-up comedian who's telling a joke to make a point for his audience. They got to fix his minds.
Do we think we should hold comedians to the standard of truth? Do we think we should hold politicians?
Comedy's a real
Actually, that's a super interesting question. If the standard is, if you go on broadcast television, start telling some lies, then the FCC can punish the company that allowed you to tell those lies. I mean, you really ready for that?
I got a 12 file of lies.
Seriously, that's a really important question, right? Are you going to go down that road where if a politician named Donald Trump goes on, ABC News and starts telling lies, and then ABC News can get regulated and punished for airing those lies? Well, how is a politician a commentator?
No one's being. By the way, these are bona fide news programs. They get exceptions. That's why Stephen Colbert is allowed to headline, 200 Democrats and 0 Republicans. So the actual late night show.
200 Democrats? Where did these numbers from?
The news. I mean, different. So when you get these exceptions, you're actually allowed.
See, you just lied. 200 0 is the truth.
And I think it's working in some instances. It's not such a silent comedians, because actually comedians is the last stop, right? Comedy was supposed to be the last thing that, there's a little truth in every joke, right? But there's also some funniness to it. It's to stifle journalists. It's to stifle people like me who want to give opinions that people don't agree. And to honestly stifle potentially people like you in a moment when Republicans don't have power. And so I actually do not think this is a partisan conversation. I actually think people should pay attention because the First Amendment applies to everyone.
Knock, knock. Dave here. We're in a bit of a crisis situation here in paradise. Now, the kind of music lads have been hit with a bad case of the munchies. They're after pizza, specifically. And only...
And
Hey!
Yeah, look, I know I'm a few months late with my payments. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in between jobs right now, but there's a check in the mail, I promise. Hey now, don't cancel my service. Can't we work something out? I can't live without porn. All right, I'll pay up.
Hello? No, hey. I'm the same. Yeah, you got that thing? Are you all... See you at the club, nice. Right? I'll come by later to pick it up. For sure. Cool. I'll take a look when I get there. Yep.
It's on Fox News. I'm probably
Again,
one of the
a cable channel, not
I'm saying it's like that's about balance. And I do want to point this out, if I can tell him about inaccuracies, I will absolutely say that if he was inaccurate about it, let's be clear, he should be accurate. The same way the right should be accurate, like the guy who was totally inaccurate about George Floyd, who, by the way, had the same birthday as Charlie Kirk, in case you didn't know, they were born on the same day, October 14th. If you look at things against Scotland, let me go. We have to leave it doesn't leave there. The point is, I'm okay with having next former Vice President Kamala Harris says in her new book that she could pick us for right thing if only she were a straight white man. We'll discuss that next.
Well, he's not a straight white man, so what are we
T-Mobile is
talking ifs and couldas?
Hold on. Is this big enough? We should have music. Better. Can you feel it? Get the most powerful iPhone ever. Why should dance?
Get fired up at T-Mobile and all you want 17 Pro or plus. It's never. No more coffee for self.
Then take her off in 30 minutes.
Goodness. One, remember, I don't want surgery for my deficiency contraction. Two,
So, Mr. Kress said we should talk about work, but not here.
Four, I want a non-surgical treatment. And five,
And if not surgical treatment is
So is there a room in the back or something?
I'll get a second.
Cool, I'll get set up.
Take charge of your treatment. If you can't let it flat, visit FindASpecialist.com to get started.
This is my dad,
So,
and we like
Mr.
to play
Kress said
music
you might be
together
able to help me out with
to
something.
eat afterwards.
Well, not me, so that's clear. It's not me you're going to be helping. Everyone understood that I am not involved. Just a bystander doing a favor. And this is not an offer of employment so much as an opportunity. Anyway, that's just getting a bit technical, but the point is, sometimes our fair and legal justice system makes mistakes. And this is one such time. Here he is, Professor Maxim Rashkovsky. You know the professor? Used to be head of research for the Army. 3 doctorates. Overconfident polymath, vain sociopath, tedious egomaniac, control freak, geneticist, weapons development, engineer, car nut, but definitely not a people person. Accused of espionage along with everything else? You don't remember? Well, lucky you. Exceedingly vain and self-absorbed man, brilliant at everything he does, yada yada yada, makes you want to puke. He's a goddamn traitor. I mean, he's a rat, but he pays. Incarcerated for a crime he did commit, but, well, let's just say money talks, and he's going to walk. So, we got a few things to get ready, all pretty straightforward. Do them one at a time, but any way you like. Standard off for a gov-fat breakout. You know what I mean? Rad. All right, first thing's the plane. Then we got a bus, and then, well, 2 things. We got the inmate transfer schedule and Rashkovsky's car. More on that later. Let me show you. We need a plane to get the professor out of the country. It's currently being used to traffic drugs by transnational street gang Ravago. The bus. Need a standard Bolingbrook transport.
Johan.
The least traffic is on the route from Toledo Bay. All right, that's where you're going to be able to get a hold of one. You can get a hard copy of the inmate transit schedule at the LSPD's Mission Row station. Go in unarmed, play it cool. You might not have a problem. That's a 2-person job, max. The other 2-hander is our guy's prize Casco. We believe it's about to be shipped to Korea by a luxury car theft ring. Okay. Mr. Kress said you guys are at least semi-competent, so, well, Professor Rashkovsky pays well.
It's always whether advancements in AI, workplace policies, I&D initiatives, upskilling talent, whatever it is, we all have a work thing in front of us. But with the right perspective, it seems confusing just how reach will suddenly fall into place and push you towards changing your business goals. It's a work thing. It's a shit thing.
Sure.
A wide leaf filter? It's well designed, efficient. I appreciate that. Leaf filter technology. Huge degree of leaf filters for good. Guaranteed. What more can you ask for? Call 833 Leaf Filter today or visit leaffilter.com.
Tony, I love your sense of urgency.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Buy himself some questions. Right. telling the story of who we are.
This takes me way back. This is my purpose. Mary? Did you see that in here?
I did. It's a bridge between cultures, generations, and strangers turn friends.
Why have food all over my face? We're changing the name of the show to The Crumb Catcher.
That's what I see. Encouraging growth. So here's our brother Faith on scanner.
New revelations tonight from Kamala Harris in her upcoming memoir. The former VP says that she considered then Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg as her running mate, but she had some reservations. She writes that Buttigieg, quote, "eliminated them for a straight white man." But we were already asking a lot of them to accept a black woman and a black woman married to a man. Other things wanted to say, let's just do it. But the only one who was at stake was to be made of this. Even if the guy was talking, saying, I experienced politics with her. Trust me. It's supposed to be someone. I was just surprised.
Limited radar visibility, story. Perfect. A bunch of angry drug dealers waiting for you 50 million.
America is not going to go out there and it's not about being parents being most qualified, it's not just being out of the record. There was no way that Lee Harris was going to win a race in 100 days. There was no way that this country that is not elected a black woman as governor was going to put her in position. It was a setup right out the gate, and there was no way that Mayor was also put in that season as a secretary. They could say it's government. It's centralized criminal network. Political interest is in drug trafficking. They diversified into mid-level distribution and user sales and trafficking other contraband. You're caught with a kilo of marijuana, it's a stealing issue. You're caught with a quantity cap at bar, semen, it's a slap on the wrist. And for you, large, endangered, loaded issues that can't smell underground stuff. Most of the Vagos operation is shot callers. It's incarcerated. Gary states it throughout Central and Latin America.
That's the whole thing. It's terrible.
It's a relatively flat hierarchy in Colombia. So if you get a smart head on, there's 6 more labels.
I'm surprised that the state of very Democratic Party openly admitting actual discrimination against gay people. I think she had also been saying that she thought that gay was
So they would do, which is all the religion is. You get me? Okay.
And the transgender is really the same.
That's what it was saying. It's saying American.
You just feel like the gay man transgender.
Yeah, well, that is an honest assessment of where it would have gone. Yeah, it would have gone straight. But here's my point.
She had already crossed the Rubicon on issues that would have angered a socially conservative constituency. Pete Buttigieg was not going to make it.
The reality is,
She picked up those manly choices to fall.
In America, this decision, my friends. We've got to go. Everyone, thank you very much. We'll be right back.
All the news. All Laura Fates Live. Next, CNN.
These eyes.
These eyes make a statement.
Take it all in.
These eyes I got from my mom.
They helped me bake this.
Nailed it?
These eyes are important.
Because they're the only ones I've got.
That's why I take them here to America's Best.
With a team of doctors and associates who believe
I deserve better.
especially these days.
America's Best. Every eye deserves better. At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work means bold new thinking. Partnering to unlock new ideas, to create new legacies, to transform our company, industry, economy, generation. Because grit and vision, working in lockstep, puts you on the path to your full potential. Old school grit, new world ideas. Morgan Stanley.
It's a flying influence. This one brings this area. Struck out with the cheap seats. Important things aren't worth compromising. At Farmers, we offer both quality insurance and great safety. Here, take mine.
Names showing micro habits, micro wins, microdose, GLP-1s.
Oh, hi.
What's happening?
I've been here for months and my weight won't budge.
Stuck. Been there, but Noom's microdoses of motivation and microdose GLP-1s can help.
Bye, 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 bye.
Micro changes, big results. Get started at Noom.com. Welcome to the Micro Club. This is what I call it the goat. A professional basketball court is always 94 by 50 feet. An Olympic-sized pool is 50 by 25 meters. And tennis, 78 by 36 feet. Always, 100% of the time. For golf, it's never the same twice. Just like the ever-changing environments, Citi's expertise and advice helps clients navigate across our global network in 180 markets. Citi, worldwide partner of the Ryder Cup. I was lying on the cusp of Sunday morning or last week. It's hard to get myself. I know that it's all for me. So make sure I'm not guilty. Keep first on
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
With Chewy Pharmacy, save 20% and make every pet a healthy pet. Get quality meds to help with anything: fleas, allergies, or recoveries, delivered fast. For great prices, for life with pets, there's Chewy Pharmacy.
Alright, my people are waiting for the plane at LSIA. Those channels are totally dark. I would not expect any more action in Plain County. Either come back to the city or take in the natural beauty at a Vista Point.
All he has to do is ask.
We need to find this crew before turf war escalates.
Okay.
Closed captioning brought to you by Varo, the bank that puts money in your pocket.
I bank with a big bank.
And I bank with Varo and have a free banking account.
Free?
Yep, at Varo there are no bank account fees at all. Get started today at VaroMoney.com.
Before we go, a quick programming note. Sarah Seidner meets the black and white sides of an old-fashioned Southern family, united by a dark secret. See what happened on The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday night at 10 o'clock on CNN. And thank you very much for watching Newsnight. You can catch me anytime on your favorite social media, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Laura Coates Live starts right now.
Tonight, it looks like threats are as simple as 1, 2, 3, ABC. President Trump threatens more TV broadcasters after Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, and the next show on his administration's list may be another ABC statement. Plus, those other late-night TV hosts, they are rallying around Jimmy Kimmel, including the president. They aren't backing down. And does Kimmel have a case against the government, even when his company is the one that suspended him? Why some are suggesting he should sue. Tonight on Laura Coates Live. So if you thought Jimmy Kimmel getting yanked off the air was wild last night, well, wait until you hear what happened today. You remember Kimmel's mean tweets segment? Well, this is that on steroids. But who's lying? It's got huge implications for free speech and politics and big business. We got the Trump administration threatening more networks, and already massive political divide getting even deeper. We're learning what was happening behind the scenes before Kimmel got pulled. And tonight, the president is not even pumping the brakes. Nope, he is keeping his foot on the gas.
Gas.
Like to see the place Kimmel
how you really feel. You know, what we're learning tonight, though, doesn't actually line up with what was said. Elizabeth Wagmeister is hearing a lot about how this went down. And it was no easy decision for ABC and Disney. One source says Kimmel was planning to address the uproar about the comments about Kirk's assassination in yesterday's monologue. Remember, those original comments were made on Monday. And it was not apparently going to be all kumbaya in that monologue. A source described that monologue to me as very hot. And that is when the decision came down to Bob Iger and Dana Walden, I am told, and that they made the decision to indefinitely pull his show off the air. I am told that Disney has expressed that they would like to move forward with Jimmy Kimmel, but what I have been told is that the temperature needs to be taken down. So, Kimmel's off the air. But if that was, in your mind, going to cool things down, well, the Democrats are furious. The Republicans are furious, frankly, too. But we're getting the thumb on the scale analogy. They're accusing the administration of strong-arming ABC to sideline him. And the president himself is cranking up the dial, now threatening that broadcast networks may lose their licenses.
Someplace said the networks were 97% against me and 97% negative. Yet I won. Also, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. I do
Up to Brendan Carr. Thomas picked for the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. That's the same Brendan Carr who yesterday gave the warning to companies like ABC, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Coercion? Who, me? Well, tonight he's saying he did not coerce ABC into taking Kimmel off the air, and that it was purely a business decision by his company, as in Kimmel's company. So what do you think about stripping network broadcasters of their licenses? Well, Carr himself is dropping some breadcrumbs.
I don't think this is the last shoe to drop. This is a massive shift that's taking place in the media ecosystem. Look, we're going to continue to hold these broadcasters accountable to the public interest. And if broadcasters don't like that, simple solution, they can turn their license into the FCC. There's other things that we can do with it.
Easy way, hard way. But what could be the next shoe to drop? Well, you know what? We have an idea. Because Carr is previewing what may be his next target. He's saying it's worth looking at The View and whether it should lose an FCC rule exemption for being a news show.
I would assume you make the argument that The View is a bona fide news show, but I'm not so sure about that. And I think it's worthwhile to have the FCC look into whether The View and some of the other programs you have still qualify as bona fide news programs.
You know, Trump is hoping to silence his critics. The joke may be on him. Because tonight, late-night TV host returning his administration is the punchline.
Now, this may seem bad, but Carr was put to reassure everyone, posting, while this may be an unprecedented decision, it is important for broadcasters to push back on Disney programming that they determine falls short of community values. Well, you know what my community values are, Buster? Freedom of speech.
Again, now with tonight contributor and host of the On and Pivot podcasts, Kara Swisher. Also executive editor at Deadline, Dominic Patton. Good to see both of you. I mean, it was predictable that there would be a response, at the very least, from late-night TV hosts like Colbert. Otherwise, but Dominic, let me begin with you here, because the FCC chairman warning that the upending of TV programming reporting is not done yet. Now, is that the same thing as we ain't seen nothing yet here? Are TV execs taking that threat tonight?
I think TV execs are taking that threat very seriously, Laura, not just at ABC, but everywhere, because, of course, as well as you mentioning how Brendan Carr is now turning on to ABC's The View, long a thorn in Donald Trump's paw, Of course, they've also talked about Trump himself. They've talked about Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyer. Look, they're trying to trend everyone down and break them. And they're trying to do it in the harshest way they can, which is investigations, licensing reevaluation, and scaring people. And as we know, that's what schoolyard bullies do. And as of yet, no one seems to be the one who wants to push back. So yes, I think there's a lot of trepidation. I think there's a lot of fear. I also think Brendan Carr is talking to his audience of one, as usual. And his audience of one gave him the biggest compliment you could get in Trump land when he called him a tough guy on Air Force One today. That's all they love to hear from the president, and that galvanizes this even more, I think.
Well, Kara, there are many ominous warnings and terrifying statements being made. Many are looking at what's happening right now and are wondering if they can even recognize this country. David Letterman, the former longtime late-night host, in a new interview, he said, we all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media. Do you agree? I mean, who's calling the shots here?
Well, let's pick it up with Brendan Carr again, because I think, first of all, he never met a camera he didn't want to talk into or something, and he's saying way too much stuff, a lot of it ridiculous. I mean, he's the thirstiest Trump administration person you can see. He just desperately needs attention, and so he says ridiculous things like he can make it the hard way or the easy way. We should look into that. Like he's playing a character of some sort. Wildly incompetent for the job here. He's just throwing around his weight in the way he thinks he can. But Hollywood executives who are already in economic troubles, audiences are declining for a lot of these shows. There's a lot of issues around costs. They worry very much. And then on the other side, they have the pressure from things like Sinclair and Nexstar. Nexstar wants things from Brandon Carr. The whole thing is just ridiculous, pressure. People putting pressure on each other for things they want, for gimmies and things like that. And so I think the person behaving the worst here, and I'm not thrilled with what Bob Iger and Dana Walden did. I don't love, Nexstar and Sinclair can do whatever they want. These are private companies. They're allowed to do this, even if it's shameful, and it is.
It's shameful.
But the problem here is Donald Trump saying something like, I don't like The View, I don't like this, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, and then it rolling downhill, and it is. And then he has to make his threat. There's absolute bright line here between what happened at Disney and what Brandon Carr said and what Donald Trump said before that. It's so clear. I think it's they can't do it. They have to pay attention to what Trump has done to universities and law firms, et cetera, et cetera.
And it's not for example, when going to court, universities have their
It's time to catch the bus. You have that. It's on the run from President to Polito. I'm here to see me.
You're absolutely right. You're thinking of that same light line you described, that same reaction was pressure that was exerted onto a private company with the intention of interfering with First Amendment rights. That's the blue line that has been led, which is why there's conversations around what sort of litigation might be available. What might be available. But Dominic, we have to do this because the leverage that Kara describes and rightly points out, I mean, you've got people like the Lost creator, Damon Lindelof, who is, and She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany, both vowing not to work with Disney until Kimmel is back in the latest show. Hollywood maybe coming to the defense. There might be discussions about, as this is being described, maybe employee boycotts. But does that have enough leverage over, say, the Nexstars and the Sinclair Broadcasting to compel these media companies to change their mind?
Well, I think that the way to look at it is slightly different, Laura. And I think the way to look at it is Disney going to have the chutzpah and the muscle to say, we don't care what Nexstar and Sinclair think? I mean, look, no disrespect to Nexstar, who own 32 ABC affiliates around the country, but with the exception of Nashville, they don't really own many in major markets. This is not going to be a huge economic dump for Disney. So I think you have to decide is, are they going to play the long game? But here's the problem I think that's emerged time and time again, and my co-panelists have spoken about it, written about it eloquently many times. These guys still think that they're going to win over Trump. They think that they're going to give him enough golden baubles or write him enough checks for $15 million for a library, and he's going to be their buddy. But what they fail to forget time and time again, as the Viktor Orban 2.0 evidence is put in front of their face, is that only lasts for 48 hours, and then he's on you again.
I'm glad I got this on camera. He's gonna get fucking sprayed. See? I'm glad I got this on camera.
Ripping you for something new or something more he wants, and it happens again and again and again. Don't just ask Hollywood. Ask Tim Cook, because he's dealing with this on a 48-hour basis, it looks like. This is the issue we're having here is, at what point is someone going to say, I've had enough? You've got Hollywood stars and producers like Damon and Tatiana, they're putting, canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions, saying they're not going to work with these people, et cetera, et cetera. Can you have a talent boycott? Maybe. I mean, at some point, we do live in a global entertainment economy, so I think you might still be able to find people to work for you. But I think the point being here is how much bad press, more importantly, how much bad press and then bad stock value are you willing to go?
Yeah.
We saw a little dip today for Disney. This is the beginning. We're going to see where this goes more, and if it goes toxic,
it's also,
as we reported on Headline, if they can have some talks. The pathway to get Jimmy back on the air.
Kara, last word to you. That's what's happening. They're getting a lot of pushback internally at Disney, and the View thing today of them not talking about it. I know the ABC's saying nobody said anything, but give me a break. You know exactly what happened there. They said.
I mean, also, I don't know because there were various local.
Hold on, Dominic. Hold on. I want to hear Dominic.
Dealing with this.
I want to hear your point, but I wanted to hear what Kara was finishing up. Go ahead, Kara.
Sorry.
Okay, I think what Dominic's talking about is this idea of, it's a nice business you have there. I hope you get to keep it, kind of thing. And that's the leverage here. And I think there's so many pieces of this that's such part of this coin on presidency, which is Nexstar really needs to do the merger with Tegna. I've mentioned this many times. Always look for the money with these people. Where's the vig? Where's the pressure? Brandon Carr, who's an unctuous toady, I don't know how else to describe him, it wants to get that deal done and make the exception, allowing them to do so. And so that's what he's doing, and therefore he's playing the big guy, if you want to continue the mobster metaphor, he's pretending he's the big guy, and then the big guy is Trump, right? And that's how they talk. This is how they're talking here. And this is the government. The government is not supposed to do this. That's not said they shouldn't be in the public interest. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to get Disney out of the broadcast business. These people are all going to just abandon the broadcast business because no matter what you do for all these companies, it's an old audience. It's an old technology. They should just put everything on streaming, put Jimmy Kimmel on streaming, and then say, come at us now, because that's how they should do it.
Kara, Dominic, so compelling from both of you. Thank you. If you are suddenly wondering, wait a minute, didn't Trump and his allies promise to protect free speech at all costs? You're not crazy. They did. So they didn't.
I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech. You said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not.
I believe in the freedom of speech. We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
America is a country of founders, of people that have pushed boundaries, pushed frontiers, they've innovated. And when you silence speech, you silence ideas. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action. frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead?
This is turtleneck today for the whiplash that you're probably experiencing with me. Additional work ahead, says the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, who appears to be trying to break the world record for most interviews by an FCC chair as he continues his media tour where he keeps, dangling vague threats. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey. He used to serve as senior counselor to the chairman of the FCC from 2010 to 2012, making you the perfect person to speak with about the change of events, shall we say. I want to get right into this idea of what the president is saying. It's up to Brendan Carr to suspend licenses of broadcasters. It seems as though this vague notion of what they have, which is called a public interest standard, which has been rarely used, broadly defined, seems to at least appear to give Carr the impression that he can do just that.
Yeah, well, I think the president called Brendan Carr a warrior for free speech. But just to add to what you just put on, to the confusion about his job and what he's doing. And the public interest, of course, means news and information and alerts. It does not give the FCC chairman some wide-ranging decision to say, I'm going to squelch free speech today because I think that's in the public interest, because I don't like somebody insulting Donald Trump. Now, listen, I get it. He's thin-skinned. He doesn't like when someone criticizes him, so he wants to just shut it down. But this whole thing is absurd, as we know. But the fact that you played that part from his inaugural speech, right, where he literally said, he's going to stop all government censorship and bring back free speech, right, and then this.
I mean, the idea of free speech, take me through that truth, doesn't line up with, as long as it's only conforming with one particular standard and subjective view of what is good or bad. You can disagree all you want. That's part of the idea of free speech.
What we want.
But it's what we want. It's exactly what really there was, the United States founding in part because of. But then you got the FCC chair who, FCC chair coming out, taking a stand such as this, making vague threats. He suggests that it's Disney. This was a business decision. It was ABC, nothing to do with me. I was just making a casual comment. But what he said put a thumb on a scale, didn't it?
Of course. And listen, they all have business before the FCC.
Right.
Right. In fact, there are mergers before the FCC right now with some of the media organizations, right, the affiliates that decided to pull the plug on Kimmel. Right. So they had business before them. He said there's two ways we can solve this. Right. What was his quote? I set down. We can do the easy way or the hard way. Right. So what kind of, that's not even a veiled threat. Right. That is a direct threat. So these companies have no choice. But if he's saying to them, fine, I'll pull your licenses, and if that's what you want, we'll do that. And so now what are they doing? And I really have a problem with the fact that ABC backed down. They should have stood up and not gone along with this. But
wait, follow that thread. What would they have? So say they had decided and said, okay, I hear that threat. I hear the pressure from, say, individual stations who were saying, I'm not going to air it.
Yeah.
They could have taken a litigious route and said, all right, challenge it. You take my license away. They could have done that.
Correct. Absolutely. And frankly, you don't just get bullied that way, because what's next? Because
one family
They brought nature indoors, channeling a small creek from their backyard right into their kitchen, creating a one-of-a-kind indoor stream. The stream isn't just practical, it's also a natural playground for the kids. They splash around barefoot, their laughter echoing through the kitchen, enjoying the happiest childhood moments. Of course, a flowing natural stream has its downsides too. Whenever heavy rain comes, the water turns murky from the sand. But once the storm passes and the sun returns, the water clears again, as if nature is reminding them that life always offers a fresh start. This might be the...
because he doesn't agree with you, but who are they going to go after next? They don't agree with somebody else tomorrow morning, right? Because he already said, the president today, who's he going after next? Fallon and others, right? And Myers, I think he said he was going to go after. So you have to lay down the law on this. And I really believe and I hope, that others don't just say, okay, I'm going to pull the show, that they'll stand up and fight the FCC because he'll lose in court. They're not going to win. This does not meet the public interest definition of, right? This is not good enough because you disagree. And as you said, we love free speech in this country. We want debate. We're going to disagree. I disagree with my colleagues all the time, but we want to do it constructively. We want to have those discussions, not screaming and yelling and deciding we're going to pull people off the air just because we disagree.
And yet this is becoming a pattern. I mean, you've got litigation, whether it's the New York Times, you've got Paramount, Disney settlements, the Wall Street Journal. Now this call from the president to suspend licenses because he feels that he is a target and only getting bad press and publicity. He has a remote control, I should mention, and can change, which is part of what the free speech allows. What's the end game here, though? Because the danger, of course, of free speech for me and not for thee can change on a dime depending on who's in power, and one could easily be the target next.
Yeah, this is part of the strategy is to threaten and bully, whether it's a corporation or a TV station. And if we don't stand up and say enough and focus on bringing the country together, the president on the day after that awful tragedy last week was asked on, I think he was on Fox News, Fox and Friends, and said, if what are we going to do to bring the country together? And his answer, unfortunately, was, I don't care. Literally said, I don't really care. And, what we need after last week is not more attacks, more partisanship, more games. We need to bring the country together. We need to have these discussions and debates and do them constructively. I disagree with a lot of what Mr. Kirk said, right, over the years. But the bottom line is you want to have a constructive debate. You don't want political violence. That's not the answer. And the answer is not shutting down debate.
You're a lawmaker. You want people to follow the law. The First Amendment, a really important part of our Constitution. What can the lawmakers do, if anything, if a private company decides to suspend or terminate? It's not the government censoring per se. What can lawmakers do in that context?
No, but in this case, it's really the FCC. If the FCC chairman makes threats and makes it clear that he's going to go after them, or suddenly it's, I'm not going to approve business you have, whether it's a merger or some other business you have before the FCC, that's what we should be looking at.
So what do you do about it?
Well, you drag the chairman before the committee.
The subpoena failed, though,
actually, it failed, but there's plenty of other ways to keep pushing this to get answers, and you keep doing what I'm doing, which is saying, hey, listen, shine a light on this. This is not acceptable. This is not what the FCC is for.
Congressman Josh Gottheimer, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Jon Stewart speaking out about criminal suspension in a way only Jon Stewart can. And yes, we'll have it for you next.
Tell everyone here that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to save people hundreds of dollars. All of us citizens fails right over the field and he's not wearing pants. You wearing speed pants? The control room censored it. When you pay for what you need.
My Relax Fit hands-free Skechers slip-ins are magical. They turn me into relaxed Andy.
Relax. How easier?
There's no bending down, no touching your shoe.
Can I try it?
Oh, give me some of that flavor, Martha. Oh, hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
We were tired of cleaning out our gutters every few months.
And I wanted him off that ladder, so we got Leaf Filter.
Leaf Filter is a permanent gutter solution, so you never have to worry about damage from clogged gutters again. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER today or visit leaffilter.com.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentlessly work with you to make them real.
Here I am, field trip chaperone. Before preventing migraine with Qulipta, it was hard keeping plans. And look at me now. I'll never truly forget migraine, but Qulipta reduces attacks, making more zero migraine days possible.
Don't take if allergic. Stop taking and get help right away for allergic reactions like trouble breathing, face, lip, or tongue swelling, itching, or rash. Tell your doctor about increased blood pressure or color changes, pain, or numbness in fingers or toes.
Learn how Appy can help you save. Qulipta, the forget you get migraine medicine.
Powerful performance. Seamless technology. And refined luxury. Some things are just too important to miss out on. The GLE and GLE Coupe from Mercedes-Benz.
These eyes.
These eyes? These eyes make a statement.
We take it all in.
These eyes I got from my mom, which I got from my mom,
Which I got from my mom.
They helped me bake this.
Nail this?
These eyes are important to me.
Because they're the only ones I've got. And these eyes help those eyes see their best.
With a quality eye exam and 2 pairs of glasses at one great price.
An eye exam plus 2 pairs of glasses for $89.95 at America's Best. With hundreds of sales every week, eat well for less at Whole Foods Market.
Drop whatever you're doing right now. The Wendy's $8 JBC meal deal is here. That's 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers, medium fries, and a medium drink. So you better be on your way. Bacon waits for no one. The #1 deal for the #1 bacon cheeseburger, gotta be Wendy's.
Built to outperform. Sleek cylinders. Lightning fast charging. And innovative tech. This is electrifying performance. Visit your Audi dealer today and lease a new 2025 Q6 e-tron Quattro for $499 per month.
Have I got news for you on a special night, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Well, moments ago, The Daily Show's Jon Stewart, in a rare midweek appearance, taking a stab at Jimmy Kimmel's suspension in alternate universe.
In America, we have something called the First Amendment. And let me tell you how it's hard
to travel in the U.S. is dead, and it's all because of corporate greed. On my honeymoon right now, my last leg, I'm in Honolulu, and I just stayed at a resort, and I saw a $500 bill being tagged onto my bill at checkout, and it says it's a daily resort fee of $52 plus tax per room per day. The following amenities are included: fresh flour or smoked nut lay breeding upon arrival for 2 guests per stay. Okay, which you didn't ask for because the flour was itching my neck, but that was the one thing that we got. Daily morning yoga for 2 guests. Bag of freshly baked beauty banana bread muffins from meditation class for 2 guests. Refillable logo water bottle. Daily cultural activities. Daily high-speed internet access, which you already get as a Marriott Bonvoy member. The only thing you get from being a Marriott Bonvoy member. Guess what's not included? The actual beach chairs. If I'm in a resort, I assume that I will have a place to lay under an umbrella. Look at this beach. Oh no, we got swept under the sand in the beach. So we're at the pool now. All of these chairs up front, we thought they were all occupied. But no, there's a $200 fee to reserve one of those chairs in the sun. Why would I pay $200 as a guest on top of what I'm already paying, on top of this resort fee that's charging me for things that I don't want for a beach chair, when I could just go farther back and find one of these shittier beach chairs to sit in. But is that how you're going to treat your guests? Give them a shittier beach chair because you have other beach chairs up front that you're going to charge $200 for? And not even on the actual beach, with the actual dollar beach, and you reserve them a day in advance for $70 per chair. And otherwise, there's absolutely no space on the beach. Literally, go to anywhere else. Go to any other country for your honeymoon, for your vacation. Save your hard-earned cash and do that, because in the U.S., you're never going to feel welcome as a guest. It's so weird that every single thing that you don't want to pay for, you have to pay for. And then every single thing that you actually want, you have to pay for on top of that. It's not included in the fee that you already paid for. Not to mention the actual hotel. It's so messed up when a hotel that would lose nothing from giving something out for free, like these chairs that they already have, to their guests who are already paying. Instead of doing that, they want to charge the guests $70 for a chair to sit on. It would absolutely mean nothing to them to just let us sit on it for free. But they're charging us because they can. When you're paying a lot for a fancy 5-star resort as it is, let us sit in the damn chairs, dude. Dude, travel in the U.S. is dead, and it's all because of corporate greed. It's on my honeymoon right now, my last leg. I'm in Honolulu, and I just stayed at a resort, and I saw a $500 bill being tagged onto my bill at checkout, and it says it's a daily resort fee of $52 plus tax per room per day. The following amenities are included: fresh flour or cocoa nut lay breeding upon arrival for 2 guests per stay. Okay, which you didn't ask for because the flour was itching my neck, but that was the one thing that we got. Daily morning yoga for 2 guests. Bag of freshly baked beauty banana bread muffins for meditation class for 2 guests. Refillable logo water bottles. Daily cultural activities. Daily high-speed internet access, which you already get as a Marriott Bonvoy member. The only thing you get from being a Marriott Bonvoy member. Guess what's not included? The actual beach chairs. If I'm at a resort, I assume that I will have a place to lay under an umbrella. Look at this beach. Oh no, we got slipped under the sand in the beach. So we're at the pool now. All of these like chairs up front, we thought they were all occupied. But no, there's a $200 fee to reserve one of those chairs from the sun. Why would I pay $200 as a guest on top of what I'm already paying, on top of this resort fee that's charging me for things that I don't want for a beach chair, when I could just go farther back and find one of these shittier beach chairs to sit in? But is that how you're going to treat your guests? Give them a shittier beach chair because you have other beach chairs up front that you're going to charge $200 for? And not even on the actual beach, but the actual beach, and you reserve them a day in advance.
There's something called a talent-o-meter. It's a completely scientific instrument that is kept on the president's desk. And it tells the president when a performer's TQ, talent quotient, mostly by niceness to the president, goes below a certain level, at which point the FCC must be notified to threaten the acquisition prospects for billion-dollar mergers of network affiliates. These affiliates are then asked to give ultimatums to the even larger megacorporation that controls the flow of state-approved content, or the FCC can just choose to threaten those licenses directly. It's basic science.
With me now, Republican strategist Joe Pinion and founder and CEO of Virginia's Redefining Freedom Center, Sophia Nelson. Good to have both of you here. Joe, let me ask you.
Let me turn it. Bro, what did you say that's called?
He says some Saturday. So.
And why you ain't hit your mans up again? Oh yeah, I guess you said he ain't got nothing.
I've been high for a minute. And I'm probably gonna be high for a minute.
Let me turn it nah, I ain't turn it down. Turn the smell to a frown. That D high sound. Had me looking like it now. Had him looking like a clown. Turn the smell to a frown. Sir D. You trying to smoke again? We just smoked. How long ago? 3 minutes ago. It couldn't have been no good. Good weed. The shit I grabbed, they said it had THC, THCA, Delta 9, CBD. It had everything in it. But I don't feel shit, dog. Maybe it's my tolerance. I don't know what it is. What's the point of smoking? Why would I keep smoking if I'm not really getting out? So maybe I should take a tolerance break. I don't know. Maybe the nigga sold me some bullshit. Maybe I got fucked cuz up. Maybe. Maybe put his fucking dick in the dirt. Maybe. Bro, what did you say that's called?
You said some
So, before we remove Professor Rashkovsky from his unwelcome stay in prison, we've got to clean up a few other loose ends pertaining to the case. Yes, it's a killing, but no, it's nothing immoral at all. Just lawyers. Well, the professor's old business associate and 2 lawyers, but really it's all the same. I mean, I always say, if you can't kill a couple lawyers to bend the law to your will, then who can you kill, right? Oh, here they are. Gavin Van DeLoop and Josh Sherman. Get them on the way to City Hall, get the documents they're carrying. The business partner is Dima Popov. Extremely rich, extremely paranoid, and extremely horrible. Don't cry for this guy, no one else will. He's renting a place up in Richmond Glen. Just him. And a huge security team. Get close to him, take him down, and after that we should be ready to go.
Final stretch now. It's a 2-horse race with 2 of you in each horse, the ass and the head. Horse 1 is going for the lawyers at City Hall. Horse 2 is on the business partner in Richmond. Sound good? Get moving. Horse 2, your target is Dima Popov. Did I mention he's paranoid? Well, yeah, he's really paranoid. No one I know employs as many bodyguards as he does, and I know some people who need serious protection, mainly because I'm trying to kill him. You didn't hear that.
Overly broad does it that allows you to police the content of speech. The way that's been interpreted is like it's a national security threat, for example. That's usually been a very rare instance where that's just actually taken that. So if they start getting into what's good or bad, populist,
I'm not the asshole in the jail.
Well, let's head down to this break. I want to talk about it next. And if you stick around LA, this book is really incredible. We got some things else important to talk about. Just
For God sees you and sounds the alarm, Pop will run, and then he'll disappear. But you want to panic and ignore him once we get to him, okay? So do it slow, do it quiet, and do it right. And if you don't, put him down quick when he starts running.
Chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine, and treatment is 4 times a year. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
And Cheetah will spend hours.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they'd started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible, you may pay $0.
You make good choices. They've shaped your journey. To leave all that your life built rock solid for generations. With a mission like that, you need someone who elevates advice, top craft, every glimpse will match your vision with insight and expertise to shape everything you have been thinking of. Advice is a craft.
Out by a basin, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
My heart would race just taking my son to practice.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. And if they fail, the risk of stroke remains. If you notice one or more of these symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did it.
This is no time to wait.
This should be the greatest news within my mind day. That is saying that new season's going to be century, so it's going to be us.
Let's see. Beef, pork, and milk for 15. Old choice. But they're here at 10, and you're not. And on a show, so fire. You know what else is fire? Your kitchen. No, seriously. Fire. Fire. Fire.
Get 25% faster smoke detection. Get it detect products open so you.
So, take out.
Floating gutters can cause big problems. So I drink over today for your free gutter inspection.
I had terrible flooding problems over the wars. Now I understand that.
Right now, the customers offering a free inspection on your schedule. The filters are a permanent gutter solution, so you never have to worry about costly damage from clogged gutters again. Call us today and schedule your free inspection. Hurry. Schedule your free inspection. Call 333-FILTER today. Or visit leakfilter.com. This year, struck out with the King James. More things aren't worth compromising. Quality insurance and great savings.
Hey!
People across the country are shocked by this blatant assault on the freedom of speech.
Some of them almost even come forward with their show.
I just want to say before we get started here that I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump. I've always believed he was, a visionary, an innovator,
a great president, an even better golfer, and if you've ever seen me say anything negative about him, that's just AI, I'm told.
So what does criminal suspension say about the currency? More specifically, well, who better than to ask a comedian? Right now is Paul Mysterio. He's an Emmy award-winning comedian known for his work on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Good taste. But he is a huge contest in what's happened to him. Are you worried it's going to have a chilling effect on what we can do?
When we're not in a fetal position crying, we're trying to figure out what the future is. Yeah, I mean, look, by our nature, comedians are contrarians, so you tell us to do A, we're going to do B. But the other side of it is comedians need to eat, feed their families. And we're in a culture now where you're going to make a joke about a conservative, you're going to say, or vice versa, right? And I, at times lately, so I think the joke, I don't know. This is where we are. This is where we are. Like, if I wanted to write a chicken crosses the road joke, I have to go, well, it could offend people who like chicken, and they'll go to the chicken lobby, which is, very powerful because chicken is delicious. And then they go to the FDA, then the president calls, right, and gets me canceled. I mean, I'm being absurd, but where does it stop? Right?
Well, where does it stop is exactly the thing that's making a lot of people question, should they even begin? And what you described, I mean, Steve Harvey this week, he revealed why he decided to quit stand-up comedy just over 10 years ago, by the way. Listen.
I saw the change coming. You remember I said change is inevitable. You got to react or participate. So my participation was to get away from it because the council culture started becoming everywhere. Comedy is too hard to do right now. You can't say what you want to say and expect to be relevant and not get canceled.
So what does that mean, though, if comedians are oftentimes the ones with the ability to speak truth to power, because there is truth in the way the joke is even received?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a history of political satire that's important going back to Mark Twain, right? And so now that foundation has a crack in it. And so what ends up happening is that you start to feel boxed. And so everything's political now. Everything. News, comedy, sports, transgender issues, right? And this is everybody's problem, though. The thing that I feel like I've been missing in the last few days is comedians. It's everybody's problem. Here's an example for you. Everybody watching. And by the way, I'm left and right, if those watching. I'm not necessarily a Trump basher. Not my guy. Didn't vote for him. I'm the guy in the middle. I believe in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and what I believe in, okay? So my agenda here is First Amendment, and that's it. And the government not using coercion to get people to do what they don't want to do. So, you have a 16-year-old daughter. She's on the debate team. She decides her debate's going to be, kind of negative about Trump and the administration. Maybe a Trumper kid doesn't like it, tells his parents, they tell the school board calls the Department of Education.
He did this already.
School, getting federal funding, they say to the school, we're going to cut your funding if you don't suspend that girl and make an example of her. And that girl then has a problem getting into college when she gets suspended. Does that sound crazy? No. And that's where I'm scared. If I said that to you a year ago, you'd be like, oh, you're drinking. I'm like, no. That could happen. And so that's where we are now. And if the law firms and the large corporations aren't going to push back, how am I going to push back as a comedian?
One day we all become the poster children. Paul Mysterio, thank you.
Thank you.
Still ahead, a pivotal moment for the Justice Department and the history that got us to where we are today. Elioli is back to share his new, incredibly timely book.
Names starring micro. Micro habits, micro wins, microdose GLP ones. Help! Oh, hi. What's happening? I've been here for months and my weight won't budge. I'm stuck. Been there, but Noom's microdoses of motivation and microdose GLP-1s can help. Bye-bye, plateau. Hello, micro changes, big results. Get started at Noom.com. Welcome to the micro top. I guess that's why they call him the GOAT.
These eyes.
These eyes? These eyes make a statement. That's why I take them here. So America's Best.
A place that's all about better. With a team of doctors and associates who believe every single
I deserve better.
especially these ones. And Doug.
Are you here for Tracy?
We're here for everyone. Leo and I help people save hundreds by customizing car insurance with Liberty Mutual.
We ordered a limo, not a limo.
Oh, yeah. We do that too. The limo? At your service. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
How are people 50 and older spending their free time?
Playing games.
Building bonds.
Getting missed.
The gumbo wumbo. You're my gumbo wumbo. You're my gumbo wumbo.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natron sleepers.
You're my gumbo wumbo. You're my gumbo wumbo.
Arthritis causes pain in your joints. Unlike pills,
You're my gumbo wumbo.
penetrating deep through the skin to the joint, reducing
We've got a bit of a problem. Some asshole got wind of what we were up to. Apparently killing a guy's closest associate puts a bit of a spotlight on him. Anyway, now I'm told they put a price on the professor's head, so we gotta move. Now, is that clear? Can we get going? All right. And remember, the professor's paying you, not me. Not me at all. So keep him alive. Based on this inmate transfer schedule, Bolingbroke are expecting a new arrival. One of you is going to intercept the transport and make sure it doesn't get there. 2 of you are going to be taking our prison bus and making your way into the facility in its place. You'll be playing inmate and guard. Stay in character as long as it's useful. Then make your way to the rooftops. I'll get on the radio and give you a path to the front. Meanwhile, the pilot will have picked up the plane and be waiting on the evac in the air. Whoever stole the bus will be bypassing the prison and torching it somewhere discreet. After that, it's just a matter of getting your guy out of the clink and getting him onto the plane. Everyone flies out of there except for the bus thief. Professor Reshkovsky takes control of the plane. The 3 of you on board take a jump. The professor's out of U.S. airspace and reunited with his precious car. Simple. Should be the easiest money you'll ever make. Speak soon.
Farm Age 40, live Saturday at 6 Eastern on CNN. Closed captioning brought to you by Varo, the bank that puts money in your pocket. I bank with a big bank.
And I bank with Varo and have a free bank account.
Free?
Yep. At Varo, there are no bank account fees at all. Get started today at VaroMoney.com.
Well, I'm not a crook. We did not, repeat, did not trade weapons or anything else for hostages.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I have nothing to do with Russia. Haven't made a phone call to Russia in years.
Those infamous denials, all prompting high-profile investigations we now know as history. One ended a presidency, others tainted legacies, and now CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig is tracing the history of each of these investigations through first-hand interviews, covering every major presidential scandal in modern history, from Watergate to Jack Smith's investigations. In his new book, When You Come at the King, is now out. Ellie is back with me. Really well done, Ellie. I can't say I'm surprised by all of your work you're doing, but how high were the stakes when presidents tried to interfere in their own investigations?
So you and I have both been in the courtroom prosecuting cases, and you know that this feels like all-consuming, right? Now imagine if you were going after the president and the whole world and media was watching and scrutinizing everything you did, right? Imagine the pressure. And the reason I wanted to write this book, really, 2 things. One, because this is our history. This is what defines us in terms of accountability for our most powerful person. But 2 is the moment we're in right now. You've been talking about this throughout the show. where we have a president doing unprecedented things. And while presidents throughout history, nobody likes to be investigated, what Trump is doing right now is fundamentally different. But I do draw some inspiration from the stories people told me. One I'll always remember, one of the Watergate prosecutors, a guy named Jim Quarles, who 45 years later worked for Mueller's team, talked about the day after the Saturday Night Massacre. So the leadership of the DOJ has been fired and resigned. And he told me we gathered in a room, we, the line-level prosecutors, we didn't know what to do, and we said, let's make the president fire all of us if he wants to get rid of this. And that's what they did. They stayed, they did their jobs, and ultimately they achieved accountability for Richard Nixon. Where we are now, though, is very different.
The chain reaction that you describe in the book, in the collateral damage, and the universe of people who are investigated when taking presidential action is scrutinized, is enormous. And you had first-hand accounts and interviews with people, even people who were indicted by special counsel John Durham.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those moments.
John Durham, you remember, investigate the investigator guy who came in after Mueller. I talked to a man named Igor Danchenko, who was prosecuted by John Durham, went to trial, and acquitted, found not guilty. And what I learned from him was it destroyed his life. Even though he beat the case, even though it was a bogus charge, it cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees, which he's still struggling to pay off. He lost his job, it put a strain on his personal relationship, his reputation is tarnished. And I think it's an important reminder that we prosecutors hold enormous power, but when we run away with it, there's a real cost to real people.
They say, power is absolute, and absolute power is, I think it's obviously like that absolute craps. This is a moment in history. Free speech debated. Maybe for the first time since we've heard about free speech being 5%, right? What was it like having this book come out that challenges and investigates really the powers that be in a way that speaks a truth to power when the First Amendment is being questioned and tested?
Yeah, so I approached this book like I was a juror. Like I was going to hear the evidence, and a lot of these cases I heard from both the prosecution and the defense. Sometimes the record's mixed, sometimes I was able to render a verdict. This case was exemplary, I think Watergate. This case was not exemplary, Durham, like we just talked about. But I do think, and the timing was a bit lucky, a bit fortuitous, because I did mean to make the point in this book that Donald Trump now, by making it clear nobody will investigate him, and anybody who does will be punished. That was a motivating force, but just what's happened this last week has driven that home even more. And that's the title, right? The title I took from The Wire, great TV show. Like Omar, others said it, but nobody said it. Like Omar, who come at the king, who best not miss. And Donald Trump is giving life to that right now, and it's really a plea that we can do better. I'd suggest the way we can improve the system, but the next president needs to understand the importance of independent prosecutorial power and actual accountability.
The right book, the right time, and the right author, and the right friend, Ellie Honig. Thank you so much. His book again is When We Come. Thank you all for watching. Anderson Cooper 360 is next.
Sports Center live in Atlanta, wherever you may be watching from. This is CNN Newsroom. Straight ahead, President Trump's warning to U.S. TV networks. If you speak negatively about me, you might lose your right to broadcast. And a call between the U.S. and Chinese presidents could seal the deal on TikTok. Ahead of Beijing stands on the app that it doesn't even allow its own presence. And plus Pope Leo's first interview, why the Pontiff says he's worried about his home country. This is CNN Newsroom with Carlos Sandoval. U.S. President Donald Trump is now suggesting that the federal government could revoke licenses of broadcast networks if they air negative coverage of him. Those comments coming after Disney's decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel's late-night talk show over his remarks about Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. President Trump said the networks should have to reapply for licenses periodically. He added that not airing conservative views would be reason enough for losing their license.
Something that should be talked about for licensing too. If you have a network, then you have evening shows, and all they do is hit Trump. That's all they do. When you go back, you can see I've been had a conservative more than years for some reason. But when you go back and you take a look, all they do is hit Trump. And license. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party.
The head of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, he is praising President Trump for creating what he described as a massive shift in the media ecosystem. He's also warning that Kimmel's suspension is not the last shoe to drop. Carr even floated the idea of targeting another ABC show, The View. He says if any programming is disputed, it warrants an FCC complaint.
Our goal and our obligation here is to make sure that broadcasters are serving the public interest. And if there's local TV stations that don't think that running that programming does it, then they have every right under the law and their contracts to preempt it. And we'll see how this plays out. But I do think that, again, we're in the midst of a massive shift in dynamics in the media ecosystem for lots of reasons. Again, including the permission structure that President Trump's election has provided. And I would simply say we're not done yet.
So what's next for Jimmy Kimmel? Well, sources familiar with the situation told CNN that Disney is hopeful that there is a path to bringing his show back to ABC. But they said that the temperature of the comics monologues needs to be taken down. The decision to suspend Kimmel had been brewing since Kimmel commented on his show on Monday about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. He called Trump supporters the MAGA gang, and also said that many in MAGA land are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk, I should say, the words of Kimmel. Now, the matter escalated on Wednesday after the FCC chair threatened to pull ABC affiliate broadcast licenses. And the Daily Show host Jon Stewart was outspoken when his own parent company Paramount canceled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert over the summer. And he made a rare Thursday night appearance to speak out about free speech and the Kimmel suspension. Listen to this.
In America, we have something called the First Amendment. Now, let me tell you how it works. There's something called a talent-o-meter. It's a completely scientific instrument that is kept on the president's desk. And it tells the president when a performer's TQ, talent quotient, measured mostly by niceness to the president, goes below a certain level.
For more on President Trump's reaction, CNN's Kristen Holmes reports from the White House.
Now, President Trump, on his way back from the United Kingdom to the United States, continued to attack Jimmy Kimmel, saying that he was talentless, adding that he didn't have any ratings. But he actually took this a step further, saying at one point that he believed that broadcast networks could get their broadcasting licenses revoked if they aired mostly negative content about him. Here's what he said.
I read someplace that the networks were 97% against Meghan, 97% negative, and yet I won in easily with all 7 swings.
Well,
And 97% against, they get the only bit of the press. And they're getting a license. I would think maybe the license should be taken away.
The president also said that he would endorse moves by the Federal Communications Commission to pull those licenses, noting that he believed that these networks should have to reapply every so often. And he also added at one point that maybe perhaps not airing conservative views could be part of a rationale for revoking those licenses, ultimately saying that he would leave it up to his FCC chair, Brendan Carr, who, of course, as we know and have reported, is at the center of everything that has been going on with Jimmy Kimmel. Kristen Holmes, CNN, the White House.
Joining me now is Clay Calvert. He's a non-resident senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Clay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So how about we begin with the FCC's public interest authority that the agency's chairman, Brendan Carr, has said should be, as he put it, reinvigorated. Can you break down what it is, and also if you believe that the Trump administration may potentially use it to stifle news coverage or any statements that it doesn't like?
Sure. So the Federal Communications Commission has the power to make sure that over-the-air broadcasters, free over-the-air broadcasters, serve the public interest, convenience, and necessity. And the public interest is really the key term there. It's very vague, isn't it? What does the public interest mean? Does it mean whatever the public is interested in, whatever the public wants to view? Or in this case, does it mean whatever the government believes the public should or shouldn't watch or view or hear on television? And so it's very amorphous. And what we're seeing, at least in my opinion, is Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, using this public interest mechanism, the statutory mandate, and saying basically that certain things that don't align with President Trump's views, those don't serve the public interest. And obviously that can be very dangerous when the government starts to intermeddle in the marketplace of ideas and saying, well, it serves the public interest, so we can censor this opposing viewpoint or a viewpoint that doesn't align with President Trump's views.
And because of this mandate or mechanism, as you put it, how much power does the FCC wield over local station groups, especially those who are some of those media companies that really need Trump administration support to carry out some of their business deals?
Sure. Well, essentially, the bottom line is that the FCC could ultimately revoke the licenses of over-the-air broadcast stations. So we talk about the public airwaves, and Dean, that's it. They're public. The broadcasters don't own the airwaves, and the FCC enforces the public interest mandate to make sure that when they're given a license, they're doing that. And so the FCC has the power to revoke the license. So in this case, you have, with at least the Jimmy Kimmel situation, you have Nexstar and Sinclair, which own about 60 total television stations across the country, whose licenses ultimately the FCC could revoke. We don't serve in Brendan Carr's view, whatever it is the public interest means. So it's a very powerful mechanism that the FCC wields to leverage against the owners of broadcast stations.
And briefly, just exploring some hypotheticals, do you think that this sets precedents that could potentially backfire, not just for Republican leaders, but also conservative media under a Democratic administration, for example?
Oh, sure. I mean, what goes around comes around, and not to quote Justin Timberlake on that, but it's strictly true, right? So the pendulum in Washington, D.C., as we know, swings back and forth from one administration to the next, Republicans to Democrats, back and forth. And so whatever the conservative and public Republican administration right now might be doing with President Trump and Brendan Carr at the FCC can certainly come back and haunt them when ultimately a Democrat becomes president, whether that's 2028, 2032, or somewhere down the line. It's almost inevitable. And so those who kind of use or misuse power now may pay the price down the line. They have to keep that in mind, keep the long-term perspective in mind.
I think it's important to also underscore just the importance of where we are right now and in this moment. I mean, if this is the president ramping up his threats on the media industry, a comedian, etc., how much of a test is this when it comes to free speech, you think?
Oh, I think it's a big test. I mean, when we think about it overall, we have to look at the Trump administration generally in trying to squelch viewpoints that he doesn't like, or trying to squelch dissent, trying to stifle it. He has a number of different mechanisms, as we've seen, to use. One is President Trump can file his own civil lawsuits. We've seen that just this week against the New York Times. I believe it was last week against the Wall Street Journal. We've seen it against CBS and even CNN. So that's one mechanism. Another one is defunding, whether it's PBS. We can take away PBS's money, Corporation for Public Broadcasting. We can go after them, NPR. And then we also have, because Trump controls essentially the FCC under Brendan Carr, we can also conduct these investigations, and we can threaten to conduct investigations. And so we've reached that stage where we don't actually, or Brendan Carr doesn't actually have to open an investigation. He can simply say, as he did in this case, we can do it the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. And right now, broadcasters know what that means. We can investigate you, or if you censor the content that we don't like, we'll let you go.
And all of this coming as some Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill are floating the ideas of putting together entire committees to launch those kinds of investigations that you just mentioned. So there is a lot to be seen here. Clay Calvert, so grateful for your perspective. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Ukraine is warning that Russian troops are closing in on the key city of Kupiansk. Officials saying that the situation has become critical, with Russian forces less than 1 kilometer from the outskirts of that city. It actually sits on a key crossroad, and its capture would allow for further Russian advances in northeastern Ukraine.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump, he is sending mixed signals about the future of his efforts to reach peace in the region. His push for peace talks, they've largely stalled, as we've seen. And his deadlines that he kept mentioning to Moscow, well, they've basically come and gone with no major consequences. Now, this is what he said.
It's been a month since your meeting with President Putin. Is it time for realities he's not become?
Yes, I feel like it. But at the right time, if I have to do it, it'll be harsh.
These are some of the president's comments as he was on his way back to the United States after a state visit to Britain. Prime Minister Keir Starmer had a lot riding on this official state visit as he held talks with the U.S. president on the final day of his trip. As Nick Robertson reports, the leaders played up their common ground. They also seem to gloss over their differences.
After a lavish state dinner the night before, Trump bid farewell to King Charles at Windsor Castle and arrived at the Prime Minister's country home, Chequers, switching gears from the previous day's pomp to talk politics and policy with Keir Starmer. The pair emphasising the unbreakable bond between the US and UK, despite the President and Prime Minister being political opposites. They managed to develop a friendly relationship.
It comes down to leaders, of course. Leaders who respect each other. Leaders who genuinely like each other.
Trade at the top of the agenda on the visit. A record-breaking $205 billion of investment expected from American companies.
We intend to always be the UK's strongest, closest, and most trusted business partner.
Trump praising the UK for becoming the first country to make a trade deal with the US during his second term. Even so, Trump already imposing a 10% tariff on most British imports, a move that could complicate ties, and no indication Starmer was able to get higher tariffs on aluminum and steel cut as he had wanted. Also not getting agreement on Ukraine. Trump and Starmer discussing how to increase pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin to get him to agree to a peace deal.
It'll all get done right, and likewise Russia and Ukraine will get done. But you never know in war.
Starmer putting pressure on Trump.
And it's only when the president has put pressure on Putin that he's actually shown any inclination to move.
Another area where they disagree is the war in Gaza. The Prime Minister hopes recognizing a Palestinian state will help end the dire situation.
So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on this score. One of our few disagreements, actually.
Starmer trying to smooth over any differences.
Discussed it with the president, as we would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other.
A reminder that even in the most special of relationships, deep undercurrents of division remain. President Trump's leaving now, apparently happy with his visit to the UK. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, can also be happy. Big tech deal, but no major falling out over their key differences. Ukraine, Russia, and over Gaza. Nick Robertson, CNN, Chequers, England.
Still ahead on CNN Newsroom, we'll talk the future ownership of TikTok. Presidents Trump and Xi, they are set to speak as their countries try to finalize a deal to sell the social media platform.
I'm Richard Quest. I love traveling the world. Broaden the mind, open the heart. I'm not done yet. It's time to embrace new adventures. Find the fun. Oh, I like that. Seize the moment. This is a chocolate tea. World of wonder. This weekend only on CNN.
Join me, Larry McDowell, as I introduce you to Africa's trendsetters. See how they use their talent, resources, and passion to make a difference on the continent. This is African Voices Changemakers.
Explains author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie shares how she's redefining African storytelling on the global stage.
Do you not think that somehow your story is not in the first story?
African Voices Changemakers on CNN.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, and winner for Outstanding Reported News Program 2 years in a row. CNN's best journalists share deeply reported stories.
There's 170 men who sleep here. It's a cell-built for 70 people.
It's
This is the guy that enslaved my ancestors.
Sarah Seidler meets the black and white sides of the old Southern family. United by a dark secret.
What a document for you to see.
Tune into the call. The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper on CNN. To understand the world, you need the truth.
You can see the scale of the destruction as a result of the impact.
It's why we follow the facts. Wherever they lead, no matter how far we have to go. From the inside story
This is where the two leaders will come shortly.
to an outside perspective, to deep in the data, ready for whatever may come.
We've got to get out of the way. That's an incoming strike.
We witness years. Their lives now are forever changing and find wonder in new perspectives and new horizons. Every day, no matter where life is taking you, you follow what matters to you. Holding the path to the truth and an understanding of our world.
Why people in Gaza? Why is leadership failed here?
Selfish, short-term thinking.
Doing allegations. This is spinning stomach turning stuff. Yes, it is. What happens during the plan? What happens if you're arrested? We were taking one day at a time. What would it take this president with Serbia to acknowledge Kosovo's independence? On the ground, St. Peter's Square, David's funeral will be held. This is what 18 months of war has done to the children of Gaza. Where do you find empathy with some of these miscreants? Have you used ChatGPT to write any songs? Look at the genocide in Rwanda made you almost quit photography. Tell us about that moment. How does this story shape all of you who are listening? How do we connect you with stories from around the globe? We're on the ground to follow the facts. We examine big ideas. We let diverse perspectives flow and ignite conversations that matter most. To bring the world to you. Stay informed. Stay connected. Stay invested. From our studios in Abu Dhabi, join me for Connect the World with Becky Anderson.
Weekdays on CNN.
Welcome back. President Donald Trump is set to speak to Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday. High on the agenda, the future of TikTok. On Thursday, the U.S. president called the social media giant a, quote, tremendous value. The U.S. and China, they agreed on a framework for the sale of TikTok earlier this week, with U.S. investors expected to own roughly 80% of the platform. For the very latest, let's go live now to CNN's Christy Liu, joining us from Hong Kong. Christy Liu, it's great to see you again. Christy, tell me a little bit about what we expect to happen on Friday with this meeting between President Trump and Xi. I mean, should we have any expectations that this will lead to a final deal on TikTok, Christy?
Absolutely. This is what we know at this hour follows. So the U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he plans to have a phone call with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Friday. That phone call is expected to take place 9 a.m. Eastern Time, this according to Bloomberg, citing a U.S. official. And we also know that this is going to be a meeting. If it happens, it will be the first direct engagement between these two leaders since June. On the agenda, you have trade, you have tariffs, you also have a potential face-to-face meeting between Trump and Xi, and of course the fate and future of TikTok. It is expected that these two leaders will strike a formal deal on TikTok. This after a framework deal was reached and announced earlier this week, a framework deal that was praised on Chinese state-run media. In fact, I want to show you an op-ed that was published on Wednesday by the People's Daily. This is the official mouthpiece of the Communist Party on the TikTok framework deal. And it said this, quote, China reached a relevant consensus with the United States on the TikTok issue because it's based on the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, unquote. Now, it also said, and this is critical, that China will review, not necessarily approve right away, that's an open question, it will review the export of TikTok's technologies and IP licensing. Look, TikTok is one of China's most successful high-tech exports. Some 170 million Americans use this platform. This is owned by the Beijing-based ByteDance. We know more than 1.5 billion people around the world use TikTok, and the secret sauce, the core of the success of this platform, is its AI-powered algorithm that keeps people so glued and stuck to their phones. And this is also one of the reasons why U.S. lawmakers have threatened a ban on TikTok, because there's a concern that it can be used to gather data about Americans and also could be used for influence operations as well. This focus on TikTok. We know the details of what the U.S. ownership structure will look like. There will be a consortium of U.S. investors that will be it's been pretty simple, like, still, this kind of feels like Chinese really give up the knows that Donald Trump is keen to get a deal on TikTok, keen to get it across the line, and that in return he might be willing to make concessions on trade. I want to show you this interesting bit of analysis from International Crisis Group William Yang saying, quote, she will seek to capitalize on Trump's desire to secure a major deal with China and push the U.S. president to make more concessions on trade as trade negotiations continue, unquote. Now remember, the U.S. and China are still in the midst of a trade truce, which could flare back up into a trade war at any moment. The current deadline for this latest truce is mid-November. Back to you, Paulo.
Chrissy Lustat with a live report out of Hong Kong and the latest on a deal in the works. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tens of thousands of people, they filled the streets across France in protests. Just ahead here on Sydney Newsroom, we go to Paris to find out why all these workers went on strike.
What's the latest in the world of transformative technologies? CNN's Becky Anderson meets with the clever minds shaping our future in Abu Dhabi.
This is not a field that is well understood.
Hear how the Emirate is integrating AI with sports.
It's about preventing
Intelligent future. This weekend on CNN. It's Africa. See a continent in transformation. As trailblazers evolve culture, technology, and industry. Africa and beyond. Meet the entrepreneurs using their savvy business skills to help communities and prosper. It's Africa on CNN in association with Zenit Bank. More phones than people. Innovation isn't just happening, it's accelerating.
we are opening the global market to viewpoints.
Meet the ambitious projects transforming Mongolia's present and future.
We're inspired by Uber, but we built from the scratch.
We just need the app that gets you places like this.
Blueprint, this weekend on CNN.
It's a European marketplace that's constantly evolving.
We're all in this together.
The energy sector.
It sounds very cool. Yeah, it really feels like plastic.
Technology.
This is the next generation of computing.
Wow. It's the latest in luxury.
What we're doing is world class.
Are you more drawn
Noise.
to classic? I'm a classic girl. I'm Anna Stewart, and I'm Brad Sebastian. Join us for Marketplace Europe.
This weekend on CNN.
It is a busy news day all around the world.
This is One World. Stories that cultivate in two unique perspectives. Zainab Sheikh and Bianca Bolatico use their extensive experience to cover global news with passion and intellect.
What specifically for the media that is speaking about?
With Zainab Sheikh and Bianca Bolatico, weekends on CNN.
Here's what you can find out. We are in an unprecedented event. Do you think that him under his doing something that would be the stories if he didn't do
This is CNN.
You got it. All right. It'll take a few seconds to kick back in.
America, we give you anything. So, you trust me? See you there.
Now take the Avenger and
Take America, and nothing stops now. I want to play like golf. You want to see that?
You're gonna lose. Maybe take your life position.
I swear to God, I will hunt you down. It's a loaded piece of dynamite right at this. Okay, let's do what we do.
In Mexico City, this is CNN.
Welcome back. Pat Bullis in Atlanta. Let's take a look at today's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump issuing a stark warning to broadcast networks in the wake of political suspension. He says they risk losing their license over negative coverage of him. The FCC chair suggesting the ABC Olin Kimmel show is just the beginning of what's to come. A U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advisory committee now calling for changes to children's vaccines. It recommends that children under 4 should get the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine separately from the vaccine for the virus causes chickenpox. The panel also delayed a vote on hepatitis B vaccines for newborns until Friday. And foreign intelligence officials in the UK wants to use the dark web to recruit spies. LA6 launching an online portal called Silent Blue Portal. Investigators, the instructions for using the messaging platform, those go live on the agency's new YouTube channel in less than 2 hours. For parts of France, they are cleaning up after a day of protests against planned budget cuts by the government. Thousands of people, they took part in the strike. Some of these demands include asking for public spending, higher taxes on the wealthy, and the reversal of a decision to make people work longer for their pensions. For more now, we go to CNN's Melissa Bell.
It was a day of largely peaceful protests across France, but this is exactly what authorities have been warning about. This is where the march ended at Nation, and what the Interior Minister had been saying, where there were groups from the far left blacks. He said there were threatening violent acts by the end of the day, and these clashes are what we've seen by the evening here at the Place de la Nation. Riot police lined across the Place de la Nation as protesters tried to take them on, projectiles, a lot of tear gas here this evening. It was, for the first time in a long time, not since 2023, had we seen these large-scale trade union protests coordinated across the country with a large-scale march. But this was what they'd warned about. These were the images Nazis have been clearing. The so-called black blocs, the groups from the far left. Some of them are encamping outside France were trying to cause trouble by the end of the day. And this is exactly what is happening at this hour. It's been a long time since we've had these kinds of coordinated union protests, but also these kinds of images of clashes on the streets of Paris, not since the pension reform process of 2023. But as we look ahead to that budget of 2026 with the new Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, trying to get through what we expect to be an austerity budget, and all this opposition to it, you can expect a lot more of these scenes again on the streets of Paris in the coming weeks. Melissa Bell, CNN, Paris.
Well, Irish novelist Sally Rooney says that she can't safely enter the UK without potentially facing arrest. She skipped an awards ceremony this week in London where her fourth book, Intermezzo, won the prize for literature. In a statement, Rooney apologized for her absence and said that she was advised to not travel to the UK because of her support for the activist group Palestine Action. The banned organization aims to disrupt the operations of weapons manufacturers connected to Israel. Palestine Action was designated a terrorist organization after activists broke into Britain's largest airbase and vandalized two refueling planes back in June. In her letter, Rooney reiterated her solidarity with the people of Palestine. Pope Leo won't engage in any partisan politics, but he says that he has some concerns about what's happening back home in the U.S. We'll bring you those details after this break.
If your band was ready, wow. Every single species plays a very important role in the whole ecosystem. Why wouldn't we want our children to fall in love with nature? We don't have much years to make a difference. Don't give up. Let's do it. You can make it. For the people, health and hope. What's the latest in the world of transformative technologies? CNN's Becky Anderson meets with the clever minds shaping our future in Abu Dhabi.
This is not a field that is well understood.
Hear how the Emirates is integrating AI with sports and art for new lived experiences.
It's going to be better than our imagination.
Plus, new opportunities in healthcare.
It's about preventing or treating chronic disease very specifically.
Intelligent Future, this weekend on CNN. Mongolia, a country where heritage meets innovation.
There's a lot of room for development.
With more phones than people, innovation isn't just happening, it's accelerating.
We are opening the global market into phones.
Meet the ambitious projects transforming Mongolia's present and future.
We're inspired by Uber, but we built from the scratch.
We just made the app that gets you to places like this.
Blueprint, this weekend on CNN. Inside Africa. See a continent in transformation as trailblazers evolve culture, technology, and industry across Africa and beyond. Meet the agripreneurs using their savvy business skills to uplift communities across Ghana.
You have to start thinking about how do you create that value in a way that's good for the planet and that's good for people.
Inside Africa on CNN in association with Zenith Bank. CNN Academy is turning 5. From Abu Dhabi to the world, we're empowering the next generation of global journalists.
Welcome to CNN Academy. We have 140 students from all around the world.
We've delivered more than 1,000 hours of immersive learning and hands-on training.
It's been an incredible week.
Partnering with leading media organizations and universities from across the world, we bring the newsroom to the classroom. Find out more at academy.cnn.com.
Discover the land of the rising sun, from the vibrant streets of Tokyo to the enchanting landscapes. Come explore Japan with CNN. My birth's French with my son and experience the best of this rich nation. A desire to create timeless beauty everywhere.
Appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you.
An epic adventure to Japan's remote corners.
Bro is working, bitch.
There are amazing things that are happening all over the world, things that can make our lives better. That's the goal of my podcast. To try and find the secrets to a longer and happier and healthier life, and then we bring those secrets to you. Listen to Chasing Life, wherever you podcasts.
This is Hemel in Ada, which translates as heaven and earth. An area where some of the finest wines in South Africa are made. The region's wine history is relatively short, but it was in the mid-1970s that it began producing the wine it's renowned for today. In 2019, this region was added to the UNESCO Creative Cities list for its gastronomy.
Our region is really famous for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Some people call it the little Burgundy, and it is really fantastic. I think what grows together goes together, and for me, it's about this incredible pristine environment that we have, and it's about marrying those local products, which are so beautiful.
I'm Nicole Sullivan in New York, and this is CNN.
Pope Leo sat down for his first interview since his election to the papacy in a wide-ranging conversation with the Catholic News Science Trust. He voices his concerns over some things going on in the United States, particularly with the treatment of migrants. We've seen it in Christopher Lambert.
Now, Pope Leo gives an insight into his relationship with President Trump and the Trump administration in this interview, because he hasn't had direct contact with President Trump, but points out that his brother, Louis Trevor, has been to the White House and met with the president. Leo says that he's not on the same page as his brother politically, although they're very close. Now, the key message from Leo is that he wants to be a conciliator, he wants to bring people together, he doesn't want to get involved in partisan politics in the US, he wants the bishops in the US to engage with President Trump, but he does have concerns about some of the things happening in the US, particularly around immigration. He cites a letter that Pope Francis sent to the US bishops where he rebuked the Trump administration for its immigration deportation plans. He said that letter was very significant, so he's sending a message there. He also said that he raised the question of the treatment of migrants when he met with Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, Leo covers a large range of topics in this interview, including
Wings to make sure we're not running into anybody. Say hello to Paul.
Mrs. Rackman says the priority is the extraction of asset ULP
I know my folks. That's how the rich live, and I had no idea. It's the big yachting thing.
It's very common. Look, see all of these. So if you're the last boat, you have to walk through 1, 2, 3, 4 boats to get to the dock. One of the ladies at the winery was like, "Oh, it's really confusing when you have to deliver wine because you're like, oh, I'm five boats. Our last night, back to the boat. So again, gotta cross through and go over all the locations." Yeah, I didn't know that rich people did this, but apparently that's the thing. In order to dock, you put both side to side. So all my Disney friends, clearly you know this, but I think it's okay. So we then to go stay at the boat. So and they go through to the ending person too. Let's go please. Make sure we're not running into anybody. Say hello to Paola. Hola, Paola. I think it is. Okay, I didn't know that rich people did this, but apparently this is the thing. In order to dock, you have to put some both side to side. So all my Disney friends, clearly you know this, but I think it's interesting. So
of LGBTQ Catholics and the role of women. He says that, broadly speaking, he will continue with Francis's line of welcoming LGBTQ people and appointing women to senior positions in the church. But he's going to be perhaps more cautious. He's going to be a consolidator. He's going to try and bring people together as a unifier. He also talks about artificial intelligence, saying that he is concerned about some of the developments of AI. He even says that someone tried to propose an AI avatar of him as Pope, but he refused that request. Leo, in this interview, really giving an insight into where he is at.
But you are the future.
I'm Pau Mosquera in Madrid, Spain. This is CNN. Hello there, welcome
Dumbo.
to CNN World Sport in Atlanta. It has been a festival of Champions League football this week, with the first round of group games spread out. Not one, not two, but three.
Put it out.
We had some terrific stories play out for us.
Put it out.
But European giant Barcelona were in town. Catalans have a new hero. He is no stranger to cricket his grounds. Having done seven star Marcus Rashford, he's on loan at Barca. That was a clinical header to go to before the hour mark. And you should see what he did next. This was an absolutely brilliant strike. Double Barcelona's lead. The England manager Thomas Tuchel was there to see it for himself. Great to see Rashford back to his best, but you've got to give their fans a reason to stick around to the end. Anthony Gordon scoring in the 90th minute, but it turned out only to be consolation. 2-1 Barca with Rashford's mark.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's making me a better player, so that's what I'm here today for, to have the team but also to try to improve and be the best. I'm full of excitement and very motivated, determined, and I think just the quality that we've got in the team, that excites me a lot. So it's refreshing to play with these guys. I've said it a few times, but the team's so young. They play with such confidence, such understanding of the game, and you guys know here's not an easy place to come and especially try to play the way that you play. I've won here a few times where we've not necessarily played the way that we wanted to play. But today I think we had a good account of ourselves. We defended well, and like I said, we walked away with the win.
Meanwhile, an intriguing night at the Etihad Stadium where Kevin De Bruyne used to run the show for Manchester City. He was back on Thursday with Napoli. Spurs Giovanni Di Lorenzo red card changed the Italian club's fortunes with an uphill climb for 70 minutes ahead of them. Napoli pulled De Bruyne to protect him, leaving the stage for City's Erling Haaland to shine. And his second half header was historic. That's his 50th Champions League goal. And he got there faster than anyone else. A good night for City. Jeremy Doku made it 2-0 in the 65th minute. And that is how it finished. All right, our senior sports analyst, Darren Lewis, has been watching the action with us today. Darren, I would love to start with your thoughts on that last game. Because this was not necessarily the story we were expecting. The Inter Milan was out. But Rashford stepped into the breach. What did you make of this narrative up?
Yeah, with a flashy Karachi in the first months of the England head coach. Thomas Tuchel in the stadium watching him tonight. It's been a man who has gone from that Manchester United head coach with a number of jobs he can do without lots of ex-players. Let's be honest, they agreed with him. They'll have short memories after this one. He has left them all with on their faces. And that's what we've seen as well from other players, United players, and really flourished away from Old Trafford, Scotland, Tomlin, Napoli, Anthony at Real Betis. So many players rediscovering their form away from United in Manchester United in decline. Rashford, the best player on the pitch against Newcastle, and his performance, I'm going to say, hasn't come from the ground together. And assist at the weekend in the 6-0 win over Valencia together. A big start to the season. And he's back in business so far.
Reminding me of what some people say when they break up. It's not you, it's me. That's the problem. Maybe it's the people in Manchester United that held that in the balance. Yeah. Disappointing night for Newcastle. The night
Water tower team, cover the entrances.
Not really. Hard to do this one, but I'm going to say that later on practically. Barcelona far superior to the we've got one goal line, spirit packing, and a noisy stadium. We're actually going to get so far in this. They're lacking in quality and cutting edge that we've seen in some of the games, as you were saying, over the last couple of nights. You've got to look at some special nights out in this competition, but on this evidence, it's a business end, the big boys.
Meanwhile, we have said so much about Erling Haaland before, but the man continues to be just remarkable. Just how impressive has this 50-goal ball been?
I believe it's the riskiest you've ever seen. They call him the Scandinavian Slayer, and he moved ahead of Ruben Sturridge. Let's get the heart century really with a move on the front. Gets taken for granted, but he really is generally and I think he's going to set some records that are not going to be in our lifetime. And the reason why he's able to do that is his toolbox. It's so impressive. First of all, with his head on the run, the awareness, the depth time, precision, that's what makes him elite. It's his movement as well. So the composure is about that. And the numbers as well. 12 goals down, 6 out of 7 games this season. He's benefiting from a far more settled City and balanced with their improved last season. Really constant fear. But they're back this season. And I think the race for Golden Boot is going to be one of the hottest we've seen for years.
The challenge ahead though for City, I mean, they've just got back wins in clean sheets with their new goal with Donnarumma. Next though, it's Arsenal away on Sunday. And the Gunners have had 2 more days to rest for this game than City will have had. It's only September, but how pivotal do you think this match could be for Guardiola in terms of the title race?
Really crucial because if they were to lose that game, they'd be 9 points behind already. We see the Premier League categories, they're really looking very small flying margins. That's why Pep Guardiola, the City head coach, starting to take his best players off to protect them for the weekend. Rodri after now, Jeremy Doherty got a goal scored with 20 minutes to go. Arnold after that. He wants them to practice a Sunday showdown. Arsenal's defence was the best in the Premier League last season. They really are an immovable object. But City's strike force, well, it is an irresistible force. Let's make a date on Sunday.
Can't wait. See you there, Darren. Thanks a lot, mate. All right, we have some more wonderful sports stories still ahead for you on the show. Stay with us for the latest from the World Athletics Championships because we haven't seen it in years.
What's the latest in the world of transformative technologies? CNN's Becky Anderson meets with the clever minds shaping our future in Abu Dhabi.
This is not a field that is well understood.
Hear how the Emirates is integrating AI with sports and art for new lived experiences.
This would be a bit of better organization.
Plus, new opportunities in healthcare.
This is about preventing and treating chronic disease very specifically.
Intelligent Future, this weekend on CNN.
Get your cameras ready. Ready. Wow. Every single citizen today very involved with the political system.
Why wouldn't we want our children to fall in love with nature?
We don't have much years to make a difference. Don't give up. Let's do it. We can make it. So the people help and solve.
Unprecedented access to the White House, Capitol Hill, and beyond. Follow Caitlin for in-depth political coverage and analysis, and watch it on The Source. Weeknights on CNN.
We're back with an extraordinary performance on the track at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, where the American Sydney McLaughlin-Brody won the 400 metres. And this was amazing for so many reasons. First of all, this isn't her main event. Sydney is a hurdler. She won Olympic gold in both Tokyo and Paris for the 400-metre hurdles, but she also ran in the 400-metre relay in those games, also taking another 2 gold medals. So this is her first gold medal running in the 400 metres flat as an individual. She absolutely crushed it. Her time, 47.78 seconds, was the fastest run by anyone in some.
I've been in my house for like 5 minutes. I didn't notice. Are you out of your black bastards? Why are you disrespecting me? Get the fuck off my dollar, bitch! Why are you looking at me? I've been in my house for like 5 minutes. I didn't even notice.
But you are the future.
I'm Paul Mosquera in Madrid, Spain, and this is CNN.
Hello there and welcome to CNN World Sport. I'm Don Riddell in Atlanta. It has been a festival of Champions League football this week with the first round of group games spread out over not 1, not 2, but 3 days. And we had some terrific stories play out for us on Thursday evening in Europe. We'll start the action in Newcastle, but European giants Barcelona were in town. The Catalans have a new hero. He is no stranger to Premier League grounds. Manchester United's unsettled star, Marcus Rashford, is on loan at Barca. and they might want to keep him permanently after this performance. That was a clinical header to break the deadlock just before the hour mark, and then you should see what he did next. This was an absolutely brilliant strike to double Barcelona's lead. The England manager Thomas Tuchel was there to see it for himself. Great to see Rashford back to his best, but Newcastle did at least give their fans a reason to stick around to the end. Anthony Gordon scoring in the 90th minute, but it turned out only to be a consolation. 2-1 Barca. It was Rashford's night.
I'm enjoying it all, and I think it's making me a better player. So, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help the team win, but also to try to improve and be the best I can. I'm full of excitement. I'm very, very motivated, determined, and I think just the quality that we've got in the team, that excites me alone. So it's refreshing to play with these guys. I've said it a few times, but the team's so young. They play with such confidence, such understanding of the game, and you guys know here's not an easy place to come, and especially try to play the way that you play. I've won here a few times where we've not necessarily played the way that we wanted to play. But today I think we had a good account of ourselves. We defended well, and like I said, we walked away with the win.
Meanwhile, an intriguing night at the Etihad Stadium where Kevin De Bruyne used to run the show for Manchester City. He was back on Thursday with Napoli. But Giovanni Di Lorenzo, red card, changed the Italian club's fortunes with an uphill climb for 70 minutes ahead of them. Napoli pulled De Bruyne to protect him, leaving the stage for City's Erling Haaland to shine. And his second half header was historic. That's his 50th Champions League goal, and he got there faster than anyone else. A good night for City. Jeremy Doku made it 2-0 in the 65th minute. And that is how it finished. All right, our senior sports analyst Darren Lewis has been watching the action with us today. Darren, I would love to start with your thoughts on that Barcelona win, because this was not necessarily the story we were expecting. The injured Lamine Yamal was out, but Rashford stepped into the breach. What have you made of his recent narrative arc?
Yeah, they've done flashy from Rashi, wasn't it? In front of the England head coach, Thomas Tuchel, in the stadium watching him tonight. It's been a man, Don, that the Manchester United head coach, Ruben Amorim, felt he could do without. And lots of ex-players, let's be honest.
Yeah, she said, I didn't ask you a question, dude.
Because he has left them all with egg on their faces. And as we've seen as well, Don, other players, United players, have really flourished away from Old Trafford. Scott McTominay at Napoli, Anthony at Real Betis. So many players rediscovering their form away from United. It is Manchester United in decline. Rashford, the best player on the pitch against Newcastle, and his performance, I've got to say, hasn't come from the clouds. He had an assist at the weekend in the 6-0 win over Valencia. He's had a terrific start to the season, and he is back in business, Don. So are Barca.
You reminded me of what some people say when they break up. It's not you, it's me. That's the problem. Maybe that is the deal with Manchester United these days.
I've heard that a few times, Don.
Meanwhile, a disappointing night for Newcastle. Should the Magpies have any complaints? What do you think?
Please, I'm trying to be nicer about it, of course. But I would have to place the handcuffs in the back of my car to walk out. Can I walk to your car and then you put me in? Yeah, we can do that. Is that okay? Just let me know wrong way. Oh my God. I have to say it because we've had brothers before. Oh, I'm sure. So, of course, yeah. We'll go down to the jail to get fingerprinted, booked, all that stuff, and then you can call and get a bond, and then you could be released as early as tonight or tomorrow. You have to see a judge within 24 hours. So that's what I know. Yeah. So I can't call anybody now. I'm not trying to do anything beyond this. Because my kids, yeah, so I do have kids. Yeah, I did go to your house. I didn't know if you were. He's older. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, anybody else that can go there for at least the evening?
Do you have a husband, boyfriend? Yeah, I mean, I can call my if I'm allowed. We're giving you the opportunity to call somebody to go to the house for the kids. Yeah, right. So I know he's not home now, but he's like, at work. So that's letting know. Okay. Yeah. Gonna be hot. Sorry. I just was trying to spare whatever here. So.
You are the future. I'm Paul Mosquera in Madrid, Spain, and this is CNN.
Hello there and welcome to CNN World Sport. Of Champions League football this week with the first round of group games spread out over not one, not two, but 3 days. And we had some terrific stories play out for us on Thursday evening in Europe. We'll start the action in Newcastle, but the European giants Barcelona were in town and the Catalans have a new hero. He is no stranger to Premier League grounds. Manchester United's unsettled star Marcus Rashford is on loan at Barca, and they might want to keep him permanently after this performance. That was a clinical header to break the deadlock just before the hour mark. And then you should see what he did next. This was an absolutely brilliant strike to double Barcelona's lead. The England manager Thomas Tuchel was there to see it for himself. Great to see Rashford back to his best. So Newcastle did at least give their fans a reason to stick around to the end. Anthony Gordon scoring in the 90th minute, but it turned out only to be a consolation. 2-1 Barca. It was Rashford's night.
I'm enjoying it all, and I think it's making me a better player. So, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help the team win, but also to try to improve and be the best I can. I'm full of excitement. I'm very, very motivated, determined, and I think just the quality that we've got in the team, that excites me alone. So it's refreshing to play with these guys. I've said it a few times, but the team's so young. They play with such confidence, such understanding of the game, and you guys know here's not an easy place to come, and especially try to play the way that you play. I've won here a few times where we've not necessarily played the way that we wanted to play, but today I think we had a good.
You are the future. I'm Paul Mosquera in Madrid, Spain, and this is CNN.
Hello there and welcome to CNN World Sport. I'm Don Riddell in Atlanta. It has been a festival of Champions League football this week with the first round of group games spread out over not one, not two, but 3 days. And we had some terrific stories play out for us on Thursday evening in Europe. We'll start the action in Newcastle, but European...
This reaction today has been mostly along party lines. We've heard most of the outrage coming from Democrats warning of censorship and the infringement of the First Amendment. We've had some Republicans raise some concerns about this, but by and large, many of them contending that this was simply, they say, a business decision. And when I asked them about the threats and the warnings coming from Trump's FCC chairman, Trump-appointed FCC chairman, about potential broadcast license being revoked if action was not taken at ABC, some of them shrugged it off or said they weren't aware of it altogether. Some, like Senator Josh Hawley, said he was fine with the ultimate outcome, which was Jimmy Kimmel off the air.
Wait, this isn't the government one. This is Disney.
Well, the FCC was threatening taking action against ABC. And Carr was out publicly.
Well, we have one FCC guy.
He's a gentleman. Is the right dabbling in cancel culture?
Not this guy on the right. I mean, I just said he's entitled under the First Amendment to say what he wants. But on the other hand, I applaud the move of Disney, his corporate parent, to say we think this is terrible.
If government authority is being used in a way that chills speech, that is problematic. If you're committed to free speech, you should be committed to free speech across the board.
That comment came from Kevin Kiley. He's a swing district Republican. But by and large, the response from Republican leaders has been to align themselves very much with Donald Trump, including the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who had no issues with this whatsoever, despite himself fighting against what he considered cancel culture in the Biden administration.
Joining me now is Clay Calvert. He's a non-resident senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Clay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So how about we begin with the FCC's public interest authority that the agency's chairman, Brendan Carr, has said should be, as he put it, reinvigorated. Can you break down what it is, and also if you believe that the Trump administration may potentially use it to stifle news coverage or any statements that it doesn't like?
Sure. So the Federal Communications Commission has the power to make sure that over-the-air broadcasters, free over-the-air broadcasters, serve the public interest, convenience, and necessity. And the public interest is really the key term there. It's very vague, isn't it? What does the public interest mean? Does it mean whatever the public is interested in, whatever the public wants to view? Or in this case, does it mean whatever the government believes the public should or shouldn't watch or view or hear on television? And so it's very amorphous. And what we're seeing, at least in my opinion, is Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, using this public interest mechanism, the statutory mandate, and saying basically that certain things that don't align with President Trump's views, those don't serve the public interest. And obviously that can be very dangerous when the government starts to intermeddle in the marketplace of ideas and saying, well, it serves the public interest, so we can censor this opposing viewpoint or a viewpoint that doesn't align with President Trump's views.
And because of this mandate or mechanism, how much power does the FCC wield over local station groups, especially those who are some of those media companies that really need Trump administration support to carry out some of their business deals?
Sure. Well, essentially, the bottom line is that the FCC could ultimately revoke the licenses.
You know what I'm saying? Cut it off. There's one stick gonna last me a month. I chew it. I get it like, you know what I'm saying? Clean that up. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about what I do in my house. This my house. If I want on the floor, I can, nigga. I pay these bills. But link down below Orange Card though if you want this nigga stick. I meant this mid-swap. My bad.
Of over-the-air broadcasting.
So it's time to clip this bit. Like I told you, I use it. I clip it. You know what I'm saying? Cut it off. There's one stick gonna last me a month or two. I chew it. I get it like, you know what I'm saying?
So we talk about the public airwaves. Indeed, that's it. They're public. The broadcasters don't own the airwaves, and the FCC enforces the public interest mandate to make sure that when they're given a license, they're doing that. And so the FCC has the power to revoke a license. So in this case, you have, at least with Jimmy Kimmel's situation, you have Nexstar and Sinclair, which own about 60 total television stations across the country, whose licenses ultimately the FCC could revoke if they don't serve, in Brendan Carr's view, whatever it is the public interest means. So it's a very powerful mechanism that the FCC wields to leverage against the owners of broadcast stations.
And briefly, just exploring some hypotheticals, do you think that this sets precedents that could potentially backfire, not just for Republican leaders, but also conservative media under a Democratic administration, for example?
Oh, sure. I mean, what goes around comes around, and not to put Justin Timberlake on that, but it's really true, right? So the pendulum in Washington, D.C., as we know, swings back and forth from one administration to the next, Republicans to Democrats, back and forth. And so whatever the conservative and Republican administration right now might be doing with President Trump and Brendan Carr at the FCC can certainly come back and haunt them when ultimately a Democrat becomes president, whether that's 2028, 2032, or somewhere down the line. It's almost inevitable. And so those who kind of use or misuse power now may pay the price down the line. They have to keep that in mind, keep the long-term perspective in mind.
I think it's important to also underscore just the importance of where we are right now and in this moment. I mean, if this is the president ramping up his threats on the media industry, a comedian, etc., how much of a test is this when it comes to free speech, you think?
Oh, I think it's a big test. I mean, when we think about it overall, we have to look at the Trump administration generally in trying to squelch viewpoints that it doesn't like, or trying to squelch dissent, trying to stifle it. It has a number of different mechanisms, as we've seen, to use. One is President Trump can file his own civil lawsuits. We've seen that just this week against the New York Times. I believe it was last week against the Wall Street Journal. We've seen it against CBS and even CNN. So that's one mechanism. Another one is defunding, whether it's PBS. We can take away PBS's money, Corporation for Public Broadcasting. We can go after them, NPR. And then we also have, because Trump controls essentially the FCC under Brendan Carr, we can also conduct these investigations, and we can threaten to conduct investigations. And so we've reached that stage where we don't actually, or Brendan Carr doesn't actually have to open an investigation. He can simply say, as he did in this case, we can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. And right now, broadcasters know what that means. We can investigate you, or if you censor the content that we don't like, we'll let you go.
And all of this coming as some Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill are floating the ideas of putting together entire committees to launch those kind of investigations that you just mentioned. So there's a lot to be seen here.
Hey, how are you? I'm great. How do you say that? Milano? I'm wonderful. How are you?
Ukraine warning that Russian troops are closing in.
That's why y'all always come in when I'm about to get on.
That the situation has become critical, with Russian forces less than 1 kilometer from the outskirts. The city sits on a key crossroad, and its capture would allow for further Russian advances in northeast Ukraine.
Glad to hear that. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Of course.
Efforts to reach peace in the region.
Where do you live? Where do you come from?
The deadlines to Moscow.
How's your day been so far? Oh, it's been great. I just worked. Now I'm doing some gaming.
Doesn't feel like it, but at the right time, if I have to do it, it'll be harsh.
That was the president aboard Air Force One on his way back.
I'm from U.S. Virginia. Oh, okay. You're close to D.C.
Talks with the U.S. president on the final day of his trip. As the Lumberton reports, the leaders played up their common ground, but they also seem to gloss over their differences.
After a lavish state dinner the night before, Trump bid farewell to King Charles at Windsor Castle and arrived at the Prime Minister's country home, Chequers, switching gears from the previous day's pomp to talk politics and policy with Keir Starmer. The pair emphasizing the unbreakable bond between the US and UK. Despite the President and Prime Minister being political opposites, they managed to develop a friendly relationship. It comes down to leaders, of course, leaders who respect each other, leaders who genuinely like each other. Trade at the top of the agenda on the visit. A record-breaking $205 billion of investment expected from American companies.
We intend to always be the UK's strongest, closest, and most trusted business partner.
Trump praising the UK for becoming the first country to make a trade deal with the US during his second term. Even so, Trump already imposing a 10% tariff on most British imports. A move that could complicate ties, and no indication Starmer was able to get higher tariffs on aluminum and steel cut as he had wanted. also not getting agreement on Ukraine. Trump and Starmer discussing how to increase pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin to get him to agree to a peace deal.
It will all get done right, and likewise Russia and Ukraine will get done. But you never know in war.
Starmer putting pressure on Trump.
And it's only when the president has put pressure on Putin that he's actually shown any inclination to move.
Another area where they disagree is the war in Gaza. The Prime Minister hopes recognizing a Palestinian state will help end the dire situation.
So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on that score. Okay? One of our few disagreements, actually.
Starmer trying to smooth over any differences.
Discussed it with the president, as you would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other.
A reminder that even in the most special of relationships, deep undercurrents of division remain. President Trump's leaving now, apparently happy with his visit to the UK. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, can also be happy. Big tech deal, but no major falling out over their key differences.
Do you like to play games? I do. Where are you from, if you don't mind asking? I'm from Louisiana.
And joining us now is David Sanger, CNN political and national security analyst.
And I'm about to get off.
Of new Cold Wars, China's rise, Russia's invasion,
For the night.
the struggle to defend the West. David, thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, cool.
Oh, great to be with you.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
To whether or not this will actually make a difference when it comes to UK and US relations. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, as you saw these two leaders take the world stage here, what was the most significant takeaway from this meeting, you think?
You know, I got sort of opposite impressions from the first day and the second. The first day was all about the pageantry, and the British understood how much the president loves that kind of thing, the flyovers, the invitation to Windsor Castle, the spectacular sight of that state dinner in the huge hall, to be in William the Conqueror's old territory. The president clearly liked that and had a good exchange with the king in those toasts, was sitting with all of the royal family members, was talking about his mother, who's of Scottish origin. So I think that part was great. What was clear by the second day when he met Prime Minister Starmer was that on the two biggest issues affecting the transatlantic alliance right now, other than tariffs, Gaza and Ukraine, they were still pretty far apart. And, you couldn't hide the differences in that press conference.
On one of those issues, especially when they were discussing Russia's war in Ukraine.
Alexandria 7. Yes.
Pressure on President Trump, then adding that if oil prices fall, that Putin would drop out of the war. He said, just bearing all that in mind, what kind of concrete steps do you think the two leaders made in bringing peace to Ukraine, if any?
I'm not sure they did. I think they have fundamentally different views of Putin.
No, thank you. I'm good.
It's clear from listening to Prime Minister Starmer that he believes that the only thing that has worked with President Putin has been when President Trump himself has joined sanctions to try to force Putin to the table and to at least discussions. But of course, the president has been very inconsistent on that. Prime Minister Starmer made clear that he believes that the intrusions into Poland